Glad to have you join us on Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguilera. The Federal Executive Council meeting is currently ongoing. The Council congratulates the people of Edo State over the peaceful election. Details of the meeting will be in our subsequent bulletins. And we take you to Onga now. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in New York ahead of the 79th United Nations General Session. He was received at the John F. Kennedy Airport by Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, and other officials of the Nigerian mission in the United States of America. The Vice President is leading Nigeria's delegation as directed by President Bola Tinubu, and he is expected to deliver Nigeria's national statement to the General Assembly, attend important sideline events, and also hold bilateral meetings. The high-level general debate, leaving no one behind, acting together for the advancement of peace, sustainable development, and human dignity for present and future generations, will run from Tuesday, September 24 through Saturday, September 28, 2024. In a related development, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, has called for a deadline extension in implementing the SDGs 2030 agenda, as Africa falls short with the remaining 84% of the SDG targets yet to be achieved. Yusuf Tugar was speaking at the Summit of the Future, which marks the opening of the 79th United Nations General Assembly in New York. Yusuf Tugar noted that the SDG index estimates that about 16% of the SDG targets are on track to be achieved.
We must, therefore, ensure that today's adoption of the Pact for the Future is backed by a real willingness to fulfill outstanding commitments. With the remaining 84% of the SDG targets for 2030 yet to be achieved, countries in the global north must do more to support sustainable development in the global south. We're optimistic that these targets can be met if commitments are backed by action. However, in the event we fall short of achieving the SDG targets by 2030, we strongly believe that the deadline should be extended.
The Minister called for the support of the international community to assist Africa through sustainable financing to accelerate the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. In other areas, to ensure acceleration, the Minister pointed out the need to reform the UN Security Council to provide a permanent seat for Africa, reform the international financial architecture to promote an inclusive, non-discriminatory and transparent international trading system, as well as to implement comprehensive debt relief measures, among other measures impeding Africa's development. We turn to politics. The excellent performance of the Beavers in the just concluded Edo governorship election gives hope that Nigeria's democratization journey is making headway. Well, this was the position of some guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria while reviewing the exercise. Lydia Sampson has more to tell us.
Sign agreement on the orderly conduct despite visible late commencement in some polling units. They observed challenges with logistics, particularly transportation, and also identified alleged interference by politicians towards the end of voting period as a downside of the process.
They're confident in democracy, confident in the process, confident in the outcome, and confident in democratic dividend.
This has also opened a window for conversation around electoral reform and the kind of reform we want to see as we go into 2027 in the future.
They express optimism that with the eliminations of multiple thumb printing due to electronic accreditation and notifications to voters through text messages of eligibility to vote and their respective polling units, INEC is making elections less cumbersome.
We say, oh, in 2007, we have 40% voter turnout. In 2003, we have 50% voter. What is the integrity quotient of those figures?
I mean, if you look at our banking system, look at every other thing. Technology is inherent in all of this. Why is it when it comes to election, we are partially adopting one another? I think we should embrace it fully.
We are happy of the progress made thus far, for me, security-wise, because no record of deaths, no stealing of ballot papers, and what have you.
No
So we're
shootouts.
still having pockets of issues there, but they are very insignificant to condemn or not to applaud the security agencies.
Security operatives, civil society, and the media were applauded for their professional conduct. Unfortunately, vote trading reports remains a major challenge that Gesi is still undermining elections. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Still on electoral matters, October 5 fixed for the conduct of local government elections in Rivers State, and stakeholders are giving their best to ensure a free and acceptable exercise. Joy Uzo reports on the level of preparations.
With the screening process of candidates ahead of the council polls in Rivers State scheduled for October 5, 2024 done, political parties are now ready to kickstart their campaigns, where candidates are expected to present their manifestos to the people so as to win their votes. Interaction with some of the political parties and stakeholders shows that they are prepared to run issue-based campaigns.
So we're ready. We've been ready because RISEC timetable for this election has been out since, and any serious-minded politician will not claim to have been taken unaware by it. And every serious political party has been on their drawing board to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
We have successfully followed the guidelines of the party, from the primaries to the process to screening, and by the special grace of God, we have close to about 14 candidates in terms of chairmen, and then we have quite a number of councillors.
In fact, what we want is a very transparent, free and fair election. And I'm standing on the words of the RISEC commissioner. Now, he has told us openly that he's going to conduct one of the best elections ever in Rivers State.
Although awareness among the electorate appears low as the election draws near, they expressed readiness to exercise their civic responsibility.
I've not heard about the local government election coming up, but if there's good publicity, we would have known about it.
I feel, for one, that people should first at least get their voters card. For me, I'm definitely going to vote.
Stakeholders say they look forward to the election as it will align Rivers State with the recent judgment by the Supreme Court, which pronounced autonomy of local government councils. Meanwhile, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, has confirmed receipt of non-sensitive electoral materials ahead of the polls. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
All right, we'll bring in Kingsley Amaduri now from Port Harcourt, who is standing by to give us live input. Kingsley, how ready would you say the people of Rivers State are going by the local government elections slated for October 5?
Ruth, welcome to Port Harcourt. I will say the enthusiasm for this local government election is high. High especially among the other political parties that are participating in this election. Obviously, one driving force for this fact that the recent Supreme Court judgment, which has also the council chairman that will emerge from the process will of course be independent. So more political parties are showing interest to be part of the process, and expectedly for all the key stakeholders, the underlying factor they have been emphasizing since the began has been for the electoral umpire to be transparent and give everyone a level playing field. And for the populace on their part, there is also this zeal for the people to be part of the process. A couple of places we passed before we got to this location. We saw one or two attempts, the contestants. You also see their posters as various strategic locations indicating their willingness to be part of the process. I would say this time around, more persons are of course, interested to participate in the process. And on the part of the electorate too, they have also shown this zeal to ensure that those they have in mind emerge from the process, given that those that will be elected will, of course, oversee the affairs of the local government council, both administratively and financially.
Indeed, Kingsley, of course, it's the season of election, right? Thank you so much for the update there from your end. Thank you. Apologies for the glitch in the visual there from Port Harcourt, our correspondent there, giving us update on the incoming local government elections. All right, to other issues, the solid minerals sector has been identified by stakeholders as the new gold mine for revenue generation and wealth creation in the country. But to catalyze this growth, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development is putting heads together with stakeholders and potential investors in solid minerals to showcase the possibilities and achievements of the sector. Now, this was at the 9th edition of the annual Mining Week. Focus has been on the minds of stakeholders is value to the raw material.
Tap mineral resources in the world. And as we continue to reform and restructure our regulatory frameworks, the focus remains on unlocking the full potential of these resources in ways that align with the sustainable development goals. The theme of this year, which has just been rolled out by the PwC, is quite rich, as you heard from the presentation, and it's in line with the vision of this government, our president, the Real Hope agenda of our dear president, President Bola Tinubu.
The federal government has initiated various economic support policies, which include interventions ranging from skills acquisition programs and food distribution exercises to Nigerians, with a view to cushion the current economic situation. Ensuring proper awareness about these initiatives is the objective of a sensitization campaign by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in Bauchi. Abdullahi Aminu reports.
This is an effort to the current economic situation faced by Nigerians after the introduction of the fuel subsidy removal policy. The campaign by the National Orientation Agency in Bauchi is aimed at sensitizing Nigerians about the 11 initiatives provided by the federal government at both local and state levels.
If there is anything that will bridge the gap and will make the masses understand what the top is doing, certainly that will gladden our heart.
The intervention programs of the president, but how to take advantage of this intervention.
It is expected that the participants will step down the knowledge acquired to other Nigerians.
The Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President is really working. I also want to tell you that we also have the second phase that is also coming up. That one is 50,000 housing units in each state of the Federation.
Meanwhile, the sensitization is also conducted in the motor parks for transport workers in line with the Renewed Hope initiative by the federal government. In Bauchi, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA.
And still on the sensitization campaign on federal government's policies, let's find out how Lagos fared. Adeola is standing by to pick up from there. Adeola, to pick up.
Very well. And knowing that adequate information is also a means of empowering the public, the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation has organized a sensitization campaign on federal government's ongoing intervention programs for the people and how they can take advantage of such programs. Larry Belay has details.
Public knowledge has become imperative as it facilitates informed engagement among the citizenry, halting uninformed and sensational conversation from spreading. To this end, the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation embarked on the facts about the various federal government intervention programs cushioning the effects of the current economic reality.
We need to get them informed so that with the information on hand, they'll be empowered to make use of this information and get a better life for themselves.
Must be informed in disseminating the information across the country, across the cities, to the citizenry of local government, of the activities of the government that will be beneficial to the people.
Communities, artisans, youth, women, religious, farmers, organizations, and association representatives had an interactive session with the presenters, intimating them on the various intervention programs and how they can take advantage of them.
Those also that have information and they have outbreak information, they can have full understanding of what federal government is doing for the citizenry.
What we need to benefit our business, they have explained to us.
The ministry, however, informed participants to access online portal and avoid inquiring from unverified sources. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
As the world acknowledges the need to protect the Earth from the sun's ultraviolet radiation through elimination of man-made ozone-depleting substances, Larry Bilayi again looks at Nigeria's journey so far in curbing this trend in her domain.
Humans will be exposed to ultraviolet radiation of the sun if the ozone layer continues to be depleted. The radiation causes certain types of skin cancers, high cataracts, immune deficiency disorders, and quick aging. The ozone layer protects the Earth when it absorbs radiation from the sun, preventing it from reaching the Earth's surface. Ozone depletion is caused by various human activities, namely manufacturing of chemicals, halocarbon, refrigerants, solvents, propellants, and other utility that uses hydrocarbon.
We should also know that forest conservation, natural resources conservation also contributes in dowsing whatever effects emissions can have. There is need for environmental awareness, both on the part of individuals and on the part of government.
Through enlightenment activities on curtailing such activities that create room for increase and exacerbation of the processes of ozone layer depletion, like how we use our refrigerators in the homes, how we use our cars and the emissions from cars.
Nigeria, being a signatory to the Montreal Protocol, has been following the process of elimination of utilities using HCFC in the country. Environmentalists noted that the recent ban of refrigerants, pesticides, even championing of compressed natural gas by the present administration points to Nigeria's quest on implementing programs that seeks to protect the ozone layer. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
And those are stories from Lagos for now. Nationwide will continue with Ruth in Abuja after this break.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to the dial. The newly established Muhammadu Buhari University of Transportation in Daura, Katsina State, has commenced its academic activities in line with the federal government's target of producing more skilled and practical youths in the country. A matriculation was held, which was headed by the Minister of Transportation, Saidu Alkali Baba. Hussaini Suleiman reports.
Observe and respect the provisions.
These travelers are pursuing cutting-edge courses in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, transport management, seaport and dry port management, among others. As pioneers, they will set the tune for future generations, shaping the university's legacy through academic excellence and adherence to its rules and regulations.
You must therefore avoid all forms of social vices such as drug abuse, cultism, examination malpractices, and stealing.
We consider the rules and regulations of the school, inshallah.
The momentous occasion drew dignitaries, including Minister of Transportation Saidu Al-Kali and the Emir of Daura Umar Farooq Umar. The ceremony showcased vibrant cultural performance and inspiring talent, igniting a sense of pride and purpose among the students. In Daura, Hussein Suleiman, NTA.
And staying with education, in continuation of the education support program under the Renewed Hope initiative of Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, indigent pupils in Nasarawa State have benefited from the supply of 60,000 exercise books. Bilkisu Guruku reports that wife of Nasarawa State Governor Silifat Abdullahi Sule presented the items on behalf of the First Lady.
The donation made through the Education Support Program of the Renewed Hope Initiative aims to support the educational needs of pupils in Nasarawa State, especially those who could not afford basic school items. While handing over the exercise books to the Ministry of Education for onward distribution to benefiting schools, the governor's wife, Silifat Abdullahi Saleh, explained that though it is a token out of many to come, the items are meant to encourage the children to strive for academic excellence and address the growing challenges of out of school among children. Commissioner for Education, John Mamman, and that of Science and Technology, Samuel Egba, appreciate the nation's first lady, Oluremi Tinubu, for the gesture which they say will address some of the challenges of the school children.
The government of Nasarawa State has placed premium, passion, vision, focus on education.
I want to urge all the students or the pupils that are collecting this book to make judicious use of these books.
Very happy for the First Lady to share books to students.
Stakeholders described the Renewed Hope initiative as a testament to the First Lady's commitment towards a better life for a better nation. In Lafia, Bilkisu Umar Burku, NTA News.
There is need for a new character in Nigeria's education system, and federal government has put in structures in motion to finalize an action plan aimed at achieving legacy goals for the sector. This was the submission of Nigeria's Minister of Education, Professor Ahir Mamman. He made the remarks while speaking at the Ministerial Leadership Forum hosted by Harvard Kennedy School's Center for International Development. The event, which is part of the Global Education and Research Unleashing Potential initiative, focuses on achieving equity and scaling successful education programs. The forum brought together 23 ministers from various countries to discuss strategies for identifying successful educational programs and ensuring equitable access for students worldwide.
If you look at the entire curriculum which are being looked at in all implemented in all those things. Now we have concluded on that. It's set for implementation from this October, this school year. Now that curriculum infuses substantially, robustly in it, these skills that we're talking about. So from primary school, every student will have exposure right through the secondary school to like varieties of skills.
Prominent leaders such as former Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete and Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Director General of the World Trade Organization, also participated in the event. Ibadan is our next stop, and Kami is set to guide us.
And welcome to Ibadan. Kwara State government has distributed 70 trucks of fertilizers received from the federal government to farmers across the state. This initiative is part of government's effort at improving food security in the country. Aisha Bakariaya has the reports.
The fertilizers are the share of Kwara State from this distribution by the Central Bank of Nigeria through the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security across the country. This is in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to boost agricultural production and ensure food security and sufficiency. The state government has mapped out strategies to ensure that the items get to the real farmers at the grassroots.
planning ahead. That's what the federal government is trying to do, to ensure we have food security in the diaspora. To achieve that, we have to make sure we make use of what we have in terms of productivity and so on and so forth, to ensure we have more food on the table.
Directors of Personnel Management and Development Officers of all the 16 local government areas of the state received the fertilizers on behalf of their various local government areas for onward distribution to the local farmers.
Knowing the importance of fertilizer in food production, we are very, very excited. And I know my people at home are very, very happy that this consignment is given to them.
Apart from this fertilizer distribution, there is another palliative that is coming up today, which is the rice palliative.
The distribution of these fertilizers in Kwara State is expected to not only boost agricultural production, but to also enhance food security in the state, thereby making food affordable and available for the masses. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
Following a directive from the Federal Ministry of Works, emergency palliative road rehabilitation work is ongoing on the failed portion of the ramp road along the Sherry Alapako Expressway in Ogun State. Oyinkansola Ojelade reports that the project, which is being handled by the Federal Road Maintenance Agency FEMA, is nearing completion.
Aftermath of the damage done to the bridge ramp connecting the Alapako-Oni Bridge at unit 79+575, the Sherry Alapako Road in Ogun State, which led to the temporary closure of the bridge. Road users encountered hardship in navigating the road, which is a vital arterial road linking some agrarian communities in the Obafemi Wode local government area of Ogun State, said to be the food basket of the state.
Because all these roads are bad, that's 2 or 3 weeks ago. We that are living on Ogowaki, we know how many lives have been lost to this road.
However, respite has come as the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, in Ogun State swung into action with the scarification of failed sections of the road, provision of boulders on the ramps, vegetation control works, and compaction of crushed stone bays.
We received a urgent call from Federal Ministry of Works. They directed that we should go and carry out palliative works on the ramps, on the bridge, and that is why we are here now. As you can see, we have the palliative works and we are still on it.
For the past 2 days, they are already on the work, and we can see that in fact these 2 days has been a great relief to the community.
Motorists commended the federal government for the prompt intervention of the road.
This is a welcome development. We thank federal government, we thank FEMA. But this road now it's okay, but before it's not okay before.
In Abeokuta, Oyinkansola Ojelade, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja after this break.
Glad to know you're there. Nigerians have been reminded to pray for the present administration to continue working to come up with policies and programs that will improve the living standard of all stakeholders. Stakeholders made the call during a retreat of the Association of Sacred Heart of Jesus Christ and the Immaculate Heart of Mary, held in Kaduna. Clement Olarutoba reports.
These people in this auditorium are professionals in their various fields, but they are in Kaduna for the 2024 annual retreat of the Association of Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary at the Catholic Social Center. Their discussions centered on issues considered as paramount to moving the Catholic Church forward.
We are the lay people, the apostolic, so that we can synergize, cross-fertilize ideas and cross-pollinate our human and spiritual ideas about how these things are done.
The retreat dwelled Catholic members devoting their time to love one another as Jesus Christ and his mother Mary loved the church.
If I and you change and surrender totally with our actions, I think we will be able to produce good leaders.
I will never stop praying for our country, Nigeria. I have hope and I know Nigeria will be great again.
The retreat, which ended with Holy Mass at Our Lady of Apostle Independence Way, witnessed the inauguration of 41 members into the association. A gala night was organized to enable participants socialize, having met each other for the first time. The theme for this year's retreat is devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary, a sure way to salvation. The delegates came from the 9 ecclesiastical provinces that constituted the Catholic Church of Nigeria. Clement Oloruntoba, NTA News.
National Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command, has paraded a 17-year-old for alleged murder of a stepson. Blessing Omeche Ebute has details of this horrible incident.
On the 12th of September 2024, following distress call by members of the public in Gindi Village, Goma local government area of Benue State, operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command, arrested a 17-year-old lady, Ngwemo Ikyowe, for allegedly murdering her 3-year-old stepson. Briefing journalist, State Commandant NSCDC, Larry Bitrus said the suspect, after murdering the boy, dumped his corpse in a river at Gindi Village.
Life is sacrosanct. No one is permitted to take anyone's life. And this is clearly an offense against the state. So whoever wants to do that should dissuade from doing it. The command will do due diligence and at the end of the day investigate the suspect and will be handed over to the police.
The commandant, who resumed a few weeks ago, also condemned the wanton destruction and vandalism of critical national assets and warned perpetrators to desist from the act, as the command will not hesitate to clamp down on those found wanting. In Makudi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
General Officer Commanding 1 Division, Nigerian Army, Major General Landers Sarasu, has challenged graduating cadets of the Nigerian Defense Academy to be part of the ongoing fight against insecurity. Haruna Mohammed reports that the GOC threw the challenge during a luncheon held for graduating cadets of 71 regular course, Course 28 Army and Direct Short Service Course 32 Air Force from the Academy.
With just a week left to their graduation and passing out parade, officer cadets of the Nigerian Defense Academy, dressed in their dinner uniforms, were treated to sumptuous dishes courtesy of the commandant, NTA and other senior military officers, with their civilian lecturers also in attendance. It is an informal occasion to unwind and share experiences and inspire the cadets as they begin their careers as officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Special guest of honor, General Officer Commanding 1 Division Nigerian Army, Major General Landers Saraso, gave the graduating cadet tips on their career paths and enjoyed them to put to practice military tactics and knowledge while exhibiting the highest level of professionalism known as officers of the armed forces.
There are so many things that attracted them to come into joining the armed forces of Nigeria. And that is going to be the beginning of the realization of those dreams and aspirations they've had over the years.
For the commandant of the academy, it is a father and child relationship, but trained to be fine Spartans of the tri-service ready to confront any adversary.
They got to be trained and toughened. So it's a different kind of father-son relationship. But all the same, I'm going to miss them, but it's for the good of the society, it's of the good of the armed forces of Nigeria, and it's for the best for our nation.
More than 800 officer cadets, comprising of cadets of 71 regular corps, Course 28 Army, and Direction Service Course 32 Air Force are expected to be mustered for graduation and commissioning into the Armed Forces of Nigeria come 28 September 2024. Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
The Army War College Nigeria has concluded its military exercise, codenamed Star Ride. The exercise, which encompasses various critical dimensions of national security, interagency coordination, logistics planning, counter-terrorism and stabilization operations.
Practical training aspects of all the things they've learned all through the course, so they crystallize it to prepare themselves to know the operational level planning and to know the responses in a multi-dimensional threat environment. We expect that at the end of this exercise, they would have sharpened their horns and be prepared for operational level planning towards resolving the multidimensional problems within our society.
TICE prepares participants with the essential requirements to effectively address contemporary security challenges confronting the nation. In a related development, the Nigerian Army is developing the capacity of selected personnel to effectively trace and track illicit crime financing. This was the focus of an Executive Leadership and Strategic Management Course 1 2024, organized by the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, in collaboration with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
We know that the Nigerian Army Resource Center will help us, build capacity that will enable our men and officers, achieve the core mandate of the commission of ridding the country of financial and economic crime.
It's not that we don't have knowledgeable people in Nigeria. It's not that we don't know our problems, but the application of the solution or the methods or the options available to us is the major issue. My hope is the participants will come here with open minds, pick knowledge, and go various areas to the organization and apply the knowledge that has been picked there.
The course for selected senior and middle cadre officers from strategic ministries, departments and government agencies is aimed at enhancing the strategic leadership and for them to be able to combat crime financing. In other news, as the water levels continue to rise with the heavy rains and high tides, the need for water travelers and operators to adhere to standard safety guidelines has been intensified. Area Manager, National Inland Waterways Authority, Yenagoa Area Office, Michael Oshere, urged operators to adhere to safety guidelines for face sanctions. Ebinimi Zetimiola has details.
Riverine transportation is a common means of movement around coastal communities in Bayelsa State. With the intense rain and high tides, coupled with the latest alert on the opening of the Lado Dam, the call for extreme caution for safety on the waterways is imminent. Hence, the launch of the 16 cardinal guidelines on safety while on the waterways is vital.
Accidents on our waterways can be reduced to the barest minimum if users comply strictly with safety regulations and guidelines.
Forming a task force that will be formidable so that we work as a team.
We, the Nigerian Navy, stand to collaborate and support all efforts that ensure the safety and security of our waterways.
As we are saying this, we are still going to all the grassroots communities.
The Nimasa and the Niwa, if they can be able to provide more life jacket to assist.
At the gathering, Niwa Area Manager announced the donation of 100 life vests from the authority. Eyanagwa, Ebinimi, Zetimiola, NTA.
From Benue, we hear the state government has set up 6 emergency camps for flood victims in response to the rising level of water on the River Benue. Elias Itiev will tell us more.
Like several other states across Nigeria, has over the years suffered flooding due to natural and human factors. Once again, the state, according to flood warning alert released by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and other relevant bodies, will be experiencing flooding due to the release of excess water from the Lagdo Dam. As a way of mitigating the impact of the disaster, concerned authorities have continued to monitor the water and creating more awareness for people living in flood-prone areas to relocate to safer grounds.
Going by the rate that the water level is increasing now, so we need to let the people who are living along the river bank be aware to move from the lower area to a higher ground where they will be safe.
Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Andrew Sekunde, disclosed that 6 emergency camps across the states have been designated for people to relocate and take shelter.
We have set up a clean and fumigate international market to those who are living on the low areas and the water banks should move to that area. In Kasnala Atongo Stadium is also there to receive those who are affected. In case should this occur, they will move there. In Agatu, the RCM primary school in Agatu is also set to accommodate these people.
He further said the state government has compiled and forwarded data of victims of the August flood disaster to the federal government for necessary action. In Makudi, Elias, HF, NTA News.
Taraba State Government has donated 175 million naira to victims of flood disaster in Borno State. Bem Hanya reports.
The delegation, at the instance of Governor Bukefas, led by the Speaker, Taraba State House of Assembly, John Kizito Bonzena, upon arrival, met with Governor Babagana Zulum and donated 100 million naira to the Borno State government, 50 million naira to Taraba State indigents residing in Borno State, and 25 million naira to the Borno Emirate Council.
Borno State and Taraba State are brothers and sisters. So whatever happens to any of them, the other one is also affected. That is why we are here to sympathize with you and to assure you and your government and the people of Borno State that we have you in our prayers.
Governor Zulum expressed appreciation to Governor Kefas for his exceptional leadership style, which aims at uniting the Northeast region, and assured Taraba State of Borno State's support at all times.
We are overwhelmed to receive such a delegation from Taraba State. This is an indication that Governor Kefas is doing everything possible to unite the northeastern states.
The team was also at the palace of the Shehu of Borno, Shehu Abubakar Ibn Umar Bai El-Kanemi. The Taraba State Commissioner for Special Duties and Humanitarian Affairs, Xavier Noku, said in addition to the cash donation, relief materials are underway for the state. In Maiduguri, Bem Hanya, NTA News.
And in line with that, the United States government expresses sadness over the huge disaster caused by the floods that have affected parts of Borno State. In response to the current flooding, the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, on behalf of the U.S. government, is providing assistance to the affected victims through UN agencies. The International Organization for Migration is also using an initial $3 million in USAID funding to address flood needs in Nigeria. To further address urgent needs, USAID is supporting the United Nations Humanitarian Air Service in conducting food lifts to inaccessible areas in Borno and Maiduguri City. The U.S. government applauded the bravery and resilience of the people of Maiduguri and the tireless efforts of first responders, aid workers, and local authorities who are on ground delivering essential services. Their thoughts, the statement adds, remains with the people of Borno during this challenging time. All right, let's bring you sports update. That's next.
Sergio Ismail and Blessing Solomon won the 21-kilometer race for male and female respectively in the Abuja Half Marathon, where more than 400 male and female athletes participated in the 10 and 21 kilometers race. Ahmed Zongo reports that the third edition of the race, organized by Abuja Run Club, is an annual event used to celebrate community and to promote physical activities and
I run it. It's not easy to be a champion.
We're trying to focus on community. You know, I used to run as a runner myself. I used to run alone. But it got to a point where running alone did not really suit me. It didn't really help. And I realized that you do more, you do better when you run with people.
To football, Nigeria saw survival into the second round of the CAF Champions League. Enugu Rangers have crashed out of the competition. They lost 3-1 to Angola Sagrada Esperança on Sunday in Luanda. Rangers last weekend won their home game 1-0 but lost 3-2 on aggregate. Meanwhile, Eimba had to go through penalty shootout to get into the group stage of the CAF Confederation Cup on Sunday after playing a barren draw with visiting Etoile Villante of Burkina Faso. The first leg also ended goalless, leading to penalty shootout as tiebreaker. Emba won 3-2 on penalties. And finally, Emma Raducanu had pulled out of this week's China Open in Beijing because of a foot injury. The 21-year-old Briton had to retire injured from her Korean Open quarter-final in Seoul on Saturday due to same foot injury. Raducanu's name appeared in the Beijing draw when it was released on Monday morning before she withdrew shortly afterwards. With Sport Update, Suleiman Musa, NTA News.
We're done with Nationwide. Thank you for your company. Do have a good evening. I'm Ruth Aguilera.